Gopichanna Ballabha Girivardhari Gopichanna Ballabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Vrajachanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachare Tira Vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihare Radha Madhava Kunya Vihare Gopichanna Ballabha Girivardhari Gopichanna Ballabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Vrajachanaranjana Sodanandana Vrajachanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachare Yamunatira Yamunatira Vanachare Ravanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihare Gopichanna Ballabha Girivardhari Ballabha Girivardhari Gopichanna Ballabha Girivardhari Gopichanna Ballabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Vrajachanaranjana Yasodanandana Vrajachanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachare Yamunatira Vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Ananda Koti Vaishnava Govinda ki jai, Namacharya Sridhar Thakur ki jai, Prem Jaga Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasa Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Mathura Dham ki jai, Navritam ki jai, Gangamayi ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembly devotees, all glories to the assembly devotees, all glories to the assembly devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Gauranga, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavari Pashachari Satalini Shri Shri Gunitai Ki. So we continue with the Transcendental Diary, Travels with His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, August 1976, October 1976, by Hari Saudi Prabhu. So Srila Prabhupada is still in Vrindavan Dham. Relaxing in the garden in the evening, Prabhupada discussed with Hansadutta about Gopal Krishna's situation. Prabhupada said it appears that Gopal is not spiritually advanced enough to work simply for Guru and Krishna, and never mind the difficulties. Sorry. Rather, he is materially influenced by his attachment to wife and child, even though if he returns home to them, he will not be happy. Hansadutta professed to have no adverse feeling at all towards Gopal, and he suggested that he could go to Delhi and try to bring Gopal back to speak with Srila Prabhupada. He felt that if he saw him personally, he could persuade him there was no difficulty and that he was not against him. Prabhupada approved his idea, but added a cautionary notice. Yes, if his mind is fixed on going to his family, then it will be very difficult to keep him here in India. This attachment is so strong. This is Maya, this attachment. Gopal Krishna is simply working on the basis that, oh, I am GBC, now everyone must follow my instruction. And he is not working simply for the pleasure of Guru. Yasya prasad bhagavat prasado. He is not working from a higher taste. Just like the Mayavadis, due to not finding shelter at Krishna's lotus feet and getting some higher taste, they again return to find some mundane pleasure. In the same way, if we do not get higher taste, then we again search for material pleasure. A little later in the conversation, Hansadutta offered to print books in India. And although Prabhupada confirmed that it is the main concern to get huge quantities of his books printed in Hindi and English, he told Hansaduta to simply concentrate on the great house for now. He told Hansaduta to simply concentrate on the guest house for now. He spoke at length, saying that having guest house was actually his Guru Maharaj's idea. I am just following the desire of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He chuckled as he spoke about his spiritual master's strong desire to preach and spread Krishna consciousness. He said that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had so stressed the importance of having people come to the temple that he said even if they had to be served meat, by any means they should be induced to come and hear about Krishna. Hansaduta and I were quite amazed to hear this. We must have looked a little shocked because Prabhupada reassured us we will never serve meat, but the idea is that if visitors feel too much inconvenience from our rules, then arrangement can be made for tea or coffee, or even bedal or body. Not exactly in the guest house, but some kind of shop in the front of the Gurukula building, where they can get these things. We can even bring them tea into the guest house if need be, but we want that people will come. We want to give them the opportunity for spiritual life, and therefore we have temple and guest house combined. We left the garden appreciating once again how Srila Prabhupada had inherited the revolutionary we left the garden appreciating once again how Srila Prabhupada had inherited the revolutionary mantle of his Guru Maharaj. He is prepared to go to practically any lengths to induce people to take to Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada came. So this is something I remember when we were preaching in the communist countries many years back. I used to accompany Harikesh, and at one point he wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada, and he was complaining that in those countries it was very difficult to get vegetables and fruit and all these things. So then Prabhupada said, he mentioned that the most important thing is preaching. He said, you can even eat meat, but you have to continue preaching. No, we never ate meat, no, but we understood the emphasis that Prabhupada put on this, no? That this preaching is our mission, is our most important activity. You know, it's the base of all our efforts. No, it's like I'm often said, and it's not, well, it's okay. You know, if somebody becomes a devotee, he follows the principles and all that, and he chants Hare Krishna and attends the program. But sooner or later, you know, actually what we need is somebody contribute, you know, to the mission of Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada's mission was to expand Krishna consciousness all over the world, to every town and village. So as I mentioned the other day, you know, so many cities here in Germany where they have never heard Hare Krishna, they have never received the book, they have never seen devotees. You know, there's so much work and so much, you know, that should be done. I mean, that's what Prabhupada. I remember I received a letter from Prabhupada once, and I had just opened a temple here in Germany. And Hansaduta insisted that I write to Srila Prabhupada and tell him about this. So Prabhupada, when he wrote back, he said, now you have become a leader in our movement. Now you have to become exemplary. And he mentioned, getting up for Mangalarti, and going out on Sankirtan and all this. At that time, we didn't have many books. We only had Ishopanishad. There was no books at that time. Anyway, just in English. Anyway, so this is actually what Prabhupada's attention. This called his Prabhupada's attention when somebody did some effort, accepted some risk for preaching, or expanded the movement to places where there were no devotees, no. What was that? Yeah, Srila Prabhupada, I remember he said that if somebody goes to a place, preaching Krishna in places where there's nobody, no devotees yet, people do not know about it, one gets special blessings of Srila Prabhupada. Just like I remember there was a conversation with Prabhupada once. Prabhupada was with some devotees, I don't know where it was. And then Prabhupada mentioned that if somebody would go to the Muslim countries, he would get special blessings. And I remember these devotees who were with Srila Prabhupada immediately decided to go to the Muslim countries. I remember they bought a Unimog, Mercedes, Unimog, like a military kind of vehicle, and I decided to go. And when they started, I remember when they started, they experienced so many difficulties in those countries. I remember one of these boys came to Mayapur after that, and he had he had stayed back in Cairo, in Egypt. And so he told us, and he said, I made one devotee, but I cannot tell him that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I don't know what he was preaching anyway, so this was the circumstance. Any questions regarding the text we read from Prabhupada? So we continue. I will continue in English because I don't have a German books here on my machine. There's no Veda base in German. I have the English and Spanish. Yeah. And I have to read this on this machine. I have to read from the machine because my eyes are not very good. Even if I put on glasses, very, very little letters, small letters. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Prabhu said we are on 36. Prabhu said we are on 36.
Are you sure?
Yes, he gave yesterday the class, but I left because I didn't understand Russian.
Okay. "36. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 5th chapter, and verse 36. Vishnurava sadhava saukimno. Vishnurava sadhava saukimno. Kashyati asamanjasaha. Sauridam dushtayam pitror ahaya panchahayanaha Vishnurvasadvasau kimno kashyati asamanjasaha Sauridam dushtajam pitror ahatya panchahayanaha Vishnurvasadvasau kimno karishyati asamshayaha Sauridam dushtajam pitror ahatya panchahayanaha Vishnurvasarvasau kimno karishyati asamanjanaha Sauridam dushtajam pitror ahatya panchahayanaha Vishnurvasadvasau kimno karishyati asamjanaha Sauridam dushaya pitror ahatya panchahayanaha Ladies? Die Damen? Ah?
Ich habe keine Brille auf, ich kann es nicht klar sehen.
Wenn ich dir das Buch gebe?
Das ist schon
Ja?
gut.
Okay.
You chant. I can't see properly without glasses.
Vishnurvasadvasau kimno karishyati asamanjanaha Sauridam dushtajam pitror ahatya panchahanyanaha Vishnu and to Vishnu va either sadhu good aso this kim whether nu indeed karishyati will do asamjanaha asamanjasaha not trustworthy saudidam affectionate relationship dushtajam difficult to relinquish Pitra of his father and mother Ahat gave up Ya he who Panchahayana only 5 years old. Translation. Although Prarat is only 5 years old, even at this young age he has given up his affectionate relationship with his father and mother. Therefore he is certainly untrustworthy. Indeed, it is not at all believable that he will behave well toward Vishnu. And there's no purport. So we continue. Paro piyapatyam hitakrit yatau sadam swadehajo pi amaya vat sutohitaha chinyat tadangam yat utamano hitam shesham sakham jivati yad vivarjanat. Although a medical herb being born in the forest does not belong to the same category as a man, if beneficial, If beneficial, it is kept very carefully. Similarly, if someone outside one's family is favorable, he should be given protection like a son. On the other hand, if a limb of one's body is poisoned by disease, it must be amputated so that the rest of the body may live happily. Similarly, even one's own son, if unfavorable, must be rejected, although born of one's own body. So these are all the words of Hiranyakashipu, criticizing his son Prahlad Maharaj. So Prabhupada writes a purport here. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed all devotees of the Lord to be humbler than the grass and more tolerant than trees. Otherwise, there will always be disturbance to their execution of devotional service. Here is a vivid example of how a devotee is disturbed by a non-devotee, even though the non-devotee is an affectionate father. The material world is such that a non-devotee father becomes an enemy of a devotee son. Having determined to kill even his son, Hiranyakashipu gave the example of amputating a part of one's body that has become septic and therefore injurious to the rest of the body. The same example, of course, may also be applied to non-devotees. Chanakya Pandit advises Tyaya Durjana Samsargam Bhaja Sadhu Samagamam. Devotees actually serious about advancing in spiritual life should give up the company of non-devotees and always keep company with devotees. To be too attached to material existence is ignorance, because material existence is temporary and miserable. Therefore, devotees who are determined to perform tapasya, penances and austerities, to realize the self, and who are determined to become advanced in spiritual consciousness, must give up the company of atheistic non-devotees. Prahlad Maharaj maintained an attitude of non-cooperation with the philosophy of his father, Hiranyakashipu. Yet he was tolerant and humble. Hiranyakashipu, however, being a non-devotee, was so polluted that he was even prepared to kill his own son. He justified this by putting forward the logic of amputation. So I'll read it again. Paropyapatyam hita krit yaya utsadam swadehajopi amahad suto hitaha chinyat tadangam yat utamano hitam shesham sukham jivati yat vivarjanat. Although a medical herb being born in the forest does not belong to the same category as a man, if beneficial, it is kept very carefully. Similarly, if someone outside one's family is favorable, he should be given protection like a son. On the other hand, if a limb of one's body is poisoned by disease, it must be amputated so that the rest of the body may live happily. Similarly, even one's own son, if unfavorable, must be rejected, although born in one's own body. Of one's own body. Anyway, so these are the words of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was actually a philosopher also. And not only that, when Hiranyaksha had been killed by Krishna in the form of the, what is that in English? Wildschwein? What is that? Anyway, by the pig. He started preaching to his own family. So they were all lamenting that Hiranyaksha was killed, had gone. So Hiranyakashipu started preaching to his family, to the mother and father, like that. And it's astounding how philosophical Hiranyakashipu was. He even knew about reincarnation and all that. So he told them not to worry so much, because actually, we all we have temporary bodies, and after this life we go to another body, like this. So actually we shouldn't be so much attached and all that. So now he's also philosophizing, to excusing, excusing his treatment towards Prahlad Maharaj, who had departed from his line, family line. And I just heard a conversation with Sir Prabhupada, where Prabhupada said that materialists and devotees, normally materialists give a lot of trouble to devotees, up to the point that they even kill their own son. Prabhupada gives the example of Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu was not an ordinary demon. Actually, he was one of the giant Vijay who had been cursed to take the Vaikuntha-vasis, the inhabitants of Vaikuntha, of the spiritual world. They had refused the entry to the Kumaras, the first sons of Brahma. Brahma was the first being created in the universe at the beginning, and then he also created sons who would help him in his mission, to create all the variety in the universe, create the different bodies for the living entities like that. And so the Kumaras, when the Kumaras were born, he started instructing them about their duties in the future, to have sons, to get married and all that. So they refused this instruction. They didn't want to get married. And not only that, not to get entangled or like that, they stayed as young children. Young children. Even though they were great personalities, they actually had their own sampradaya, Kumara sampradaya. There are 4 sampradayas: the Brahma sampradaya, and the Shiva sampradaya, Lakshmi sampradaya, and Kumara sampradaya. So the Kumaras, when the gatekeepers of the spiritual world didn't want to let them in, they cursed them to take birth in the material world. And because they're very dear to Krishna, so Krishna appeared. Narayana appeared. And he turned this around. He said, maybe you can take 5 births as devotees in the material world, or 3 births as demons. And because they were feeling the separation of Narayan, so they didn't want to stay very long in the material world. They decided to become demons, accept bodies of demons. And Prabhupada mentioned that Krishna also has a very strong tendency to fight. He likes to fight with somebody. In the spiritual world, there's no enemies he can fight with. So sometimes it says that one of the reasons that Krishna appears, that he also wants to satisfy the tendency to fight. And for that purpose, he sent some devotees to the material to be his enemies. And you can see, when Hiranyakashipu appeared, when Nrsingadev appeared, when Nrsingadev appeared, when he was fighting with Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyakashipu was not an ordinary enemy, an ordinary demon. Normally when you fight and you feel that you're losing the fight, you start to run away, get rid of the place, like that. But actually, even though Nrsingadev appeared as a tremendous form, No, he kept on attacking him. No, and the example is given here in the 7th canto that the singer they've expanded to a huge form, and even though he was so huge, no, the example is given just like a how you say, like a bee or like like a fly. No? He was flying around him, small, small, very very small form, and try to beat him. No? Yeah, beat him. And they were fighting for quite some time. And in the end, Nrsinga killed Hiranyakashipu. And it's mentioned when he was killed, the demigods, they were very afraid of Nrsingadev. And they wanted to, how you say, peace him, how you say, wanted him to become peaceful again. No, but he was, his whole aspect was so terrific, not so, anyway. So the demigods didn't dare to go close. No? So they gave Prahlad Maharaj a garland, and they told him, look, this Lord has appeared for you, out of his causes mercy for you, to protect you. So please go and give him the garland. No? And as soon as Nrsingadev saw Prahlad Maharaj coming, he changed his mood. And it says in the Bhakti Bhagavatamrita, in the Bhagavatamrita it says, when he put him on his lap, he took him up, put him on his lap, he started licking his head. That's how the lions are dealing with their small ones. Because he had appeared half lion, half man, so he had also customs of a lion. Anyway, so it says that in Satya Yuga, this was actually happening in Satya Yuga. Satya Yuga. Even though it was Satya Yuga, there were also demons. And in the case of Nrsingadev, a very, very specific demon. Anyway, so these demons, like Ravana and Kumbhakarna, they appeared in Treta Yuga. And then in Dwarka Yuga, what is that? They appeared as, what was that? How did they appear? Oh, Shishupad and Dantavakra. Shishupad and Dantavakra. And then also, I never found these details, and I don't know where these details are. But it says that Jayan Vijay appeared again in Kali Yuga. They appeared as, what is that? Jagan Mother. I found I found 2 sentences where I think it was a conversation, where Parvat mentioned that he reappeared again. And what was that? What was her name? Jagayamada. Anyway, so this material world, as Parvat says in the purport, is a plate of misery. Rebirth and suffering. That's it. And whatever we experience as pleasure, it's very, very temporary. Actually, that's one declaration of Prahlad Maharaj, where he says that one shouldn't worry about the suffering. Because after suffering, again, they become happiness. And one shouldn't be attached too much to the happiness, because one should be sure that there will again be suffering. This is our condition in the material world. And as is mentioned in the Shastra, there's different kinds of suffering. Adhyatmika klesha, suffering from the body, inconvenience of the body or disease or whatever it is. Adhyatmika klesha. Adibodhika klesha means suffering from other living entities. Adidevika klesha. That means it's referred to the demigods, Deva. They're in control of the universal events. Now they have so many problems with many parts of the world. There's inundations, and then there's also, I know part in South America they have a lot of lack of water. They're afraid, like in Colombia and Bogota, they're afraid that and Ecuador also. They're afraid that there will be not enough water anymore for the people. And in other places, inundations, like in Philippines right now, and in India also. Now it's monsoon. In India it's monsoon. And I heard that this monsoon is extremely, much more powerful than before. I saw some pictures of Mumbai. In the middle of the city, the water is so high right now. Or earthquakes. South America, a lot of earthquakes and eruptions of volcano. How is that in English? What is that? Wie sagt man in English? Huh? Volcano. Volcanoes. Yeah. So these are the different, and then also it says, then also, other categories like birth, death, old age and disease. Birth is very painful, for the mother, for the child. Actually it squeezes out there, and it says that, that the head and that, because the bones are very soft, so they kind of adjust to the difficulty at that moment. There's so much suffering, like even before the child comes out. Kapila Muni is explaining in the third canto. When it comes to, when the child in the womb comes to 7 months, it starts waking up and starts perceiving everything that is happening around the mother, hears the voice of the mother like that. And becomes, as it grows within the womb of the mother, becomes so uncomfortable, because there's limited space. And it starts praying to God, please relieve me from this condition. Praise to Krishna, please release me from this, and I'll be your servant in the future. And then when it comes out, it starts forgetting this promise. It gets out, and the first thing Kapila says is, notices that it's a mother. Then other members of the family, gradually the father, the brothers, and all the family members. And then, as it gets so much attention, it starts feeling proud. I'm the center. Whenever others come, they give the child so much attention. And then it grows. And sometimes when another brother is born, becomes envious, because all of a sudden all the attention goes to the younger child, like that. And then it comes. As it grows, it's come to puberty. How do you say puberty? Puberty. Yeah. So, and then becomes attracted. Pung sang siya mituni bhava mitam. Then becomes attracted. The ladies and the boys and girls become attracted to each other. Like that. After a while, they get married. And it says actually there's pung sang sita mituni bhava mitam. It says that our whole existence here in the material world is based on this knot Not? No, it's not between the sexes. This is our main motivation. Like sex attraction, sense gratification. And then, the birth, it grows, then it matures, and power mentioned they have some sub-products. Children, then the children are growing up, and the parents are becoming older and older, and start becoming a burden to the younger members of the family. Especially when the father is not producing anymore, is not producing any more money to maintain the family, they lose respect. There's an interesting point. Prabhupada mentioned that his own life. He had met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, his spiritual master, at one point in his life. And then he had given him an instruction. But Prabhupada was always thinking, how can I do? I'm a family man. I'm not a sannyasi. I can't travel and preach, like that. And then he was running his business. He had become independent, made his own business after a while. But the business was going down. So he had started Bhagavatam readings in his home. He had invited people to attend to the reading. And so he came back from his office one day and was searching for the Bhagavatam. He couldn't find the Bhagavatam. So then he couldn't just find. He asked his wife, what the Bhagavatam is? No? So then she said, yes, I sold it to get some chai. Chai. Everyone who has been in India has heard the chai. They're screaming, chai, chai, chai everywhere. It's tea. They're selling tea. Anyway, so then when Prabhupada realized that she had lost respect for him because he wasn't producing properly anymore. Then Prabhupada took the decision to leave the family. And Prabhupada said that at that point, he left and never came back. Not that he came back. He never again met his wife, only his children. And so Prabhupada mentioned about, when he mentioned that event, sometimes he said this was arrangement of Krishna. So I could become detached, and become more fixed on the mission that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, his Guru Maharaj had given him. Anyway, so Prabhupada mentioned that. Interesting. So, and following the instruction of his spiritual master, he got more and more strength. Even at one point, the devotees were asking Srila Prabhupada, when you came to New York, didn't you feel, how you say, loneliness? How is it? Loneliness? And Prabhupada said, I never felt lonely. I always felt the presence of my spiritual master. I always felt the presence of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, when one becomes completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, Krishna gives a promise. I send them what they need and protect them and protect what they have. And Prabhupada gave us his practical example. When he came to America, we all know when Prabhupada went to America, he only had 40 rupees. At that time it was a few dollars, like $7 at most. But anyway, so he started preaching and translating at the same time. And so he was completely absorbed in the mission that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had given him. And gradually everything started manifesting. Krishna sent him disciples, people to help him in his mission. No? And he was starting printing books in English, better to say in American. No? And in this way, Prabhupada used to always say that this was his mission, preaching. And the preaching of the books are what's the most important for Srila Prabhupada. Because the books can be going all over the place. And once we know that once somebody gets a book from Srila Prabhupada, he has Prabhupada's association. And Prabhupada speaks to him. Prabhupada preaches to him. This is a fact. Just like when people get books on the street. Normally on the street there's so much distraction, but when they take the book home, and they sit down in a peaceful place, let's say undefended, and Prabhupada starts preaching to them. Wow! Yeah, that has its effect. Often when we ask, even on the Sunday, we're here not, but in other places, I notice that when one asks, how did you come to the temple? Well, even asking the devotees, how did you become a devotee? Most of the devotees nowadays say, I got a book on the street. Yeah. That's why Prabhupada pushed so much the distribution of the books. I remember when the first marathon took place in Los Angeles, devotees were surprised for Christmas marathon. Later they gave it another name, Prabhupada's Marathon, not Christmas Marathon. And they couldn't, they were becoming completely ecstatic, going out and distributing books. And they started distributing so many books. First it was Back to Godhead. And Prabhupada was also surprised how many books went out. And then when they started presenting Prabhupada the results of the book distribution, Prabhupada categorically, said, now double it. We did 1,000 books, and Prabhupada said, now double it. And when they doubled it, he said, double it again. Yes, so if you want to really please to the Prabhupada, you're connected with this. Book distribution, book production, like Prabhupada's books are the books. For this, I have a quote. I found a quote. I don't know where it was. It was a collection of memories of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada about Prabhupada. And at one point there was a devotee with Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada asked him, so you're reading my books? And I don't remember what he said, but then Prabhupada said, I also read my books. And then Prabhupada said, when I sit down in the morning and I write, translate, Krishna is there, and he gives me the words to say. So this is not ordinary. I remember when Prabhupada came to Germany in 74. We had prepared a place, a room, prepared Prabhupada making recordings. We wanted recordings of the bhajans, of the different songs of Prabhupada. So we prepared a room. We bought a whole system of recording, all Sennheiser, the most highest quality at that time in Germany. And we put on the walls, we had all these Eikästen, what is that? The boxes of eggs, eggs, yeah. Because everyone was using these to keep the sound proper. So then Prabhupada was recording. Hans Ruda was playing the mridanga. Sometimes Prabhupada played the mridanga afterwards. He added the mridanga. Yeah. And I remember who played the card, I think Vedavyas, somebody. And I remember we were sitting outside. The door was closed at that time of the studio. And when Prabhupada came out, he sat down and he wanted to hear what he has sung. And I remember he was in deep meditation, hearing his own bhajans. Yeah, I have some time ago, somebody No, actually, of these recordings, we made records. No, and we made 2 long play records, the big ones. Yeah? And they would put them on a, how you say, Umschlag, what is that? That kind of cover, 2 long play records together, and we would sell them. And on the cover you can see Prabhupada, like sitting like this in deep meditation, hearing his own chanting. Yeah. Anyway, so Prabhupada never felt, he was never thinking that all this had happened by his own, force, because he was highly intelligent or something like that. Prabhupada would always feel himself very humbly. He would always present himself very humbly. And sometimes sometimes when devotees were reading, Prabhupada was surprised what he had written. Anyway, so this is our mission, Sankirtan mission. Sankirtan mission. There's a mission. And actually, Prabhupada mentioned many times that this mission was foretold. And the effect of the mission was foretold by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That at one point in every village, and how you say, I don't know in Spanish, pueblo y aldea. In allen, wie sagt man, Dorf, wie sagt man das noch? Was ist die Vorhersage, dass man den Hare Krishna macht? Huh?
Every town and village.
Town and village. In the future, in every town and village, the holy name will be heard. What does that mean? Who chants Hare Krishna? That means everywhere there will be devotees. This is the how you say, foretelling of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so we are very blessed to be allowed to partake. How you say, partake? No, yeah, partake in this mission that we are allowed. No? And we should be very grateful. And as a how you say, a feeling of greatness, we should contribute. No? Not just be grateful to Srila Prabhupada for what he has given us, but also, like I mentioned before, to contribute something substantial to this mission and partake in the expansion of the mission all over the world and present Srila Prabhupada. Is there any question? Actually, I prepared for another verse. Yes. Huh?
In regards to Prabhupada leaving his family, if I remember correctly, he still was sending every now and again some money.
Some what?
Money.
Sesi, for his wife.
Yeah. So just to make this point, he did not act irresponsibly,
Yeah.
And even, I think, even when he left this world, he also gave again some money to his family as inheritance.
Yeah, I heard a girl from Prabhupada's family is living in Mayapur. No, is a devotee. No? Another thing is that what was the point now? We were in Mayapur at one point, and we were talking with. I remember the sannyasi who was taking care of the family. He maintained the connection with Prabhupada's family, and so we were sitting, and I asked him, "So what? How is Prabhupada's wife?" We had just heard that she left her body, and he told us when she was about to die, she asked for japas, to bring her japa. Yeah. And one son of Prabhupada actually was very favorable. He also appears in the latest Prabhupada movie. How is that? No? Yeah. I remember he came also. When we installed the Samadhi of Prabhupada in Mayapur, there was a big ceremony, the deity was installed in Prabhupada, and there was also a godbrother of Srila Prabhupada there. I don't remember his name. He was very old and was very favorable to. He had always been very favorable to Srila Prabhupada. And there was also the son of Prabhupada was also there. No? Anyway, so, but the Prabhupada had he said, I renounce a small family of a wife and a few children, but Krishna has given me so many children, so many spiritual children. Yeah. Prabhupada gave up a small family, he created a not yet universal, but planetary family. Yes, so. But I just heard also Prabhupada that in one conversation he was saying, it's very difficult to maintain spiritual life in this age of Kali Yuga. And he mentioned all of our disciples, Prabhupada said, also, so many have gone, so many have come, stayed for some time and left. And then Prabhupada also mentioned many times, as soon as we give we give attention to Maya, Maya is ready to pull us down. Yeah, that's why we have to be very, very careful. We should always keep our sadhana, get up early, attend Mangal Arati. Actually, Prabhupada once said that amongst all the items of sadhana, Mangal Arati is the most important activity that we do. Mangal Arati. Yeah. Of course, when you're not living in the temple, maybe more difficult. But that's why Prabhupada insisted so much in the beginning that everybody live in the temple. I remember everyone living in the householders were, householders were living in the temple also. Then, but as the movement grew, more and more the householders started living outside. Yeah, because this association is so important. Sadhu Sangha, Shasva Sarvakoi, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Vasari. It says, it mentioned that Sadhu Sangha, the association with devotees, is the most important principle in devotional service. And then it says, Sadhu Sangha, even Lavamatra, an insignificant fraction of a second association with devotees. Having this association, one can reach perfection. This is the beginning of perfection. I mentioned this many times. Prabhupada at one point said also, if somebody is given prasad, sometime, Prabhupada mentions, sometime in the future become a devotee, that person, just because being given prasad in the beginning. That's why Prabhupada emphasized so much in the distribution of prasad. There should always be prasad. And many of us in the beginning became devotees just because of the prasad. You have one here. The first time I went to the temple, somebody took me to the temple. I was living in a commune with other young boys and girls. And a devotee appeared in our commune. He didn't look like a devotee. It was Uttama Shloka. Uttama Shloka was a devotee Prabhupada sent from San Francisco to Germany to help. He was a hippie. But when Prabhupada noticed that he came from a German family, immediately sent him to Germany to help. Because Shivananda was all alone, with Mandali Bhatta, we were very few. And so when he came to the temple in Germany, in Hamburg, he had some problems. He kept his long hair and all this. Anyway, so he had some problems with the devotees. So he moved into our commune. Somebody had given him the address. He started cooking, and he had a part of kartas, also chanted Hare Krishna sometimes. He was a very, very special person for us. And then he took us to the temple one day, on Sunday. And we came too late. They were already taken prasad. We came after the class and after prasad and all that, after the kirtan and all that. So, And they gave us a plate of prasad. When we came in, I was surprised how much they had on each plate. Later on, I understood why. That was such nice prasad. All the original preparations that Parvati had taught the devotees, like halava, like puri, laddu, simply wonderful, like that, pakoda, samosa, like that. And it was just so convincing. The prasad convinced us to become devotees. So after I got the first plate, I started going to the temple at midday. So because I loved the prasad. And then the devotees told, at one point the devotees told me, well, look, you're coming every day. Can you help with something? And I had no money at that time. So they taught me how to make chapatis. That was my first service. They took me to the kitchen and taught me how to make chapatis. And I loved it so much to make chapatis. I started making huge piles of prasad. But the old style, like kind of keep them warm also, serve them warm, and like this, like kind of doubling over like. So then they started teaching me other things, but then I came to the conclusion, I'm losing my independence here. So I went off. But after a while I came back because I felt so much separation from the devotees. Yeah, I started thinking, I started see the difference, between spiritual life and material life. And I came. And a week later, all of a sudden they said, Prabhupada is coming, Prabhupada is coming. Yeah. So he was coming to the temple. It was the first stop. It was the first temple in Europe, in Hamburg. Yeah, that's why Prabhupada came to Hamburg at that time. We were only a few devotees. Yeah. But then they started pressuring Srila Prabhupada from London. They had come to London, and they had some success. They had made a record with George Harrison and all that. So they were pushing Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, in Hamburg, there's nothing. Come here. Everything is happening here in London. No, because also they had gotten an invitation to the Roundhouse. Roundhouse in London was a big place, big hall, a round building like that, where all the new bands were playing. At that time in England there were a lot of new bands, like rock bands and all that. And they had invited the devotees to sing there. There's a photo where the devotees are sitting in the roundhouse. Everyone's sitting on the floor, and they sitting in the center and chanting. Yeah. And after that, they met met the Beatles. Yeah. And when they met the Beatles, George Harrison said, "I've been looking for you. I had no idea where you were." And he told the devotees, "Yeah, we also chant Hare Krishna sometimes." And he told Shamasundar, "Yes, we went to Greece once, summer holiday, and I said, going in a boat, and with John Lennon, we were chanting Hare Krishna. We couldn't stop. It was so ecstatic." Yeah. So that's why Prabhupada stayed for very much time in London at that time, because there was so much opportunity to preach. And also, London is full of Indians also. At that time, Prabhupada said that the Indians are our most important allies. How do you say? Allies? Allierte, allies. Yeah. And they started inviting Prabhupada and helping Prabhupada like that. Yeah. So that's how it started. And the instruction that it all started with the instruction of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati to Srila Prabhupada. When he saw him for the first time, he came with a friend. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was speaking to a group of people. He stopped speaking when he saw the young boys. And he told them, "Look, you seem to be young, intelligent boys, why don't you, take this mission, the mission of chanting Hare Krishna to the West, and preach in English. Yeah. And Prabhupada took it to heart. He was very, very impressed by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So when he went out, he started associating with the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And he heard more and more about the activities of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. This was in 1912. He met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And he was initiated in 1913. Not like we got initiated immediately. He waited for 11 years to become initiated. Yeah. And then he, long later, when he had his own business, and he wrote a letter to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said, "Oh, my dear master, I'm not a brahmachari. I'm not a sannyasi. I don't live in the mart, in the temple. I'm a householder, and but please, this is very interesting." He said, "Please tell me how I can serve you." This is our relationship with the spiritual world. How we can serve you. Yeah. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati repeated the exact instruction again. But he added something. Yeah? He said, go to the West and preach. And then he added, this will be good for the people and this will be good for you. I mean, at least for me, it caught my attention. Interesting. Yeah? It's not just good for the people, but also good for the devotees. The more we occupy ourselves in devotional service, especially in the preaching mission, we advance in Krishna consciousness. And we can see, after a while, you can see actually how we have changed. Yeah. Sometimes devotees lament, "Oh, I'm very insignificant. I have not made any advancement, even though I'm devotee for so many years." But when you look back, and you compare your present condition with the condition before you became a devotee, there's a big difference. Yeah? There's a big difference. Okay, don't want to extend it unnecessarily. Maybe there's some comment or some questions. Möchtest du noch was sagen?
Nee, ich habe ja schon den einen Kommentar gemacht, dass Prabhupada verantwortlich war.
Mhm.
Aber ansonsten das Land.
Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Oh, yeah, Prasad, come on. Hast du in meinem Zimmer gewohnt? Ja, Hare Krishna.